Yeah, okay. Um, Welcome to our call for Soul Body Bliss, and welcome back, Jordan, to Soul
Hello.
Body Bliss, former, but forever. I like to think of everyone always being a Bliss babe.
Yeah, lifetime member.
Lifetime, lifetime. It never leaves you. It's part of your soul.
No.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hmm.
I'm excited. I have some notes, so if I look down, that's what I'm
Okay.
at. But I'll just introduce myself again. So my name's Jordan. I'm originally from Massachusetts. Now I live in Bemidji, Anna's hometown. I'm a former member of Soul Body Bliss, and I just love the Soul Body Bliss program. I just want to say that it really helped me at a pivotal point in my life where I felt really lost and ungrounded and unsure. And so even today, when I still feel out of sorts, I go back to things I learned in this program. And so just kudos to anybody in this program that you're investing in yourself, and putting that priority into your health, because I think it's just so important to have a good set of foundation and people you can talk to and develop your kind of health philosophy with. So so I was really excited when Anna asked me to share it, because I just love this program. And I just think anybody that's in this program, we all are kind of tied together with a similar love and understanding of our body and nature, and how we can just kind of work more harmoniously together on those things. So I'm very excited to be back. I've been using essential oils for over 8 years, and I started using them because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, the hormone imbalance, and that's how I started using essential oils, was to find balance within my hormones. And then it kind of just led to helping me understand how our bodies work and how our different body systems are interconnected, and how our daily choices really impact our health overall. So it was a rabbit hole for me to learning about my health and really understanding, because Anna and I were talking before this, and in school, all you kind of learn is the portions on your plate and the different food groups and gym class. And that's what we're taught about health. And there's so many more layers to it. So using essential oils really helped me dive into those deeper levels so I could have a better understanding. And when I started using essential oils, I found that I met a lot of women who didn't start using them until something went wrong in their life or wrong in their health. And so I just encourage you to, and I know since you're in here, you're already doing that. You're putting your health first before something goes wrong, and you're really working on that foundational concepts about what health is. So something that to me, I found part of a foundation of how I view my health is my relationship with my body. And so it's kind of what I wanted to focus on tonight is, how do we get a good relationship with our body, and what does that mean? And what are a few easy, basic things that you can think about as you're working on building that better relationship with your body? So I think being able to understand how our body talks and communicates with us is essential for moving forward in your health. So when it comes to our health, your body more than anyone else. And so I want everyone to always feel empowered that you live with your body every day, and you have a gut instinct of what is right for you and what feels right, and to just really feel empowered to trust your instincts when it comes to your health, and feel empowered about making choices for your body that feel right for you. Because there's so much power in that relationship you have with your body. So being in tune with our body, some things that what does it look like to be in tune with our body is understanding or catching your intuitive cravings. So I remember I had a really deep craving last summer for parsley. And I don't know why it's not a regular item in my diet. I did not wasn't raised on parsley. I don't know, but I just kept wanting parsley. Like, it was like really bizarre. And I started looking into like, well, what does parsley do for the body? And I started looking into it. It's like high in vitamin K and vitamin A, and it helps with blood clotting. And my family has a history of a blood clot disorder. So like, how intuitive that my body was like, hey, you need to have more of this, because it would really nourish your body in something that it needs nourishment in. So being able to catch those intuitive cravings is part of having a good relationship with your body. Being able to isolate what parts of your body need attention. So like, I'm very tall. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", depending on how much I stretch. And I often need like good spinal hygiene. Like, my spine gets very stiff and very stuck and very compressed. And I have to work really diligently to give myself movement in that area. But I know exactly what part of my body it is, or where in my spine that I'm looking to address. And I can feel that where my hips get really tight. And so I can feel when my hips need to be opened up, and things like that. So being able to isolate a specific part of your body that needs attention, that's part of having a good relationship with your body. And then reflecting on emotions. So being able to sit in silence or sit in reflection and understand why we are feeling a certain feeling, why we're acting a certain way, and being able to kind of dial that in and reflect on what's going on. So those are kind of like some 3 ground rules of what I feel it is to be in tune with your body, like what that looks like. And here are some things of what being out of tune with your body looks like. So maybe it's not wanting or not being able to tell if you're wanting to eat from boredom or from hunger, being able to establish those 2 different areas. If you can't establish that, you're not in tune with your body. Feeling sore without doing anything. Not being able to feel where your body is sore and where that's coming from and why it's coming from a certain place. And then losing control of our emotions. It's like another way to really feel that we're out of tune with what's going on in our body. So if you feel confused by your body at all, I encourage you to kind of like lean into these next steps and consider making them a priority, because being able to decipher the why behind what's happening is like essential for moving forward with your health. So 3 steps, or kind of columns, pillars of being in tune with your body, are step 1 is what I call eliminating noise in the body. And that comes from being aware of our chemical overload, our chemical exposure that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And this is especially important for us as women. So the Environmental Working Group actually averages that a woman uses 12 personal care products every day, which exposes them to 168 different chemical ingredients. And now personal care products just includes your skincare, your makeup, and what you're using in the shower, and like lotion. But that's not even accounting for is like chemical cleaners. Do you have air fresheners plugged into your wall? Any kind of candles you're lighting, things like that. These are all additional chemicals that we're experiencing as women on a daily basis. So then the average ends up being in the 500s. And that's a huge toxic burden for our bodies to deal with every day. I mean, it's exhausting thinking about it, that imagine how your body feels when your body's trying to deal with that. So if you're wiping down the counters with your Lysol wipes, or you're at work washing your hands and they just, probably have some commercial grade soap, like it just adds up very quickly. And it can be totally overwhelming to your body, and having your body be able to communicate with the different systems and function properly. So all of these chemicals are what I call noise in the body. And it's hard for us. If our body systems can't communicate with each other, then we can't communicate with our bodies. And we get stuck in this area of not really understanding why our body's acting a certain way. So there's a point where your body just isn't able to do it anymore. And that's called bioaccumulation or toxic overload. And it can just really, that's when you hit a plateau generally in your health. It's like your body just can't take it anymore. And sometimes that can be really hard for us to understand, because we might be thinking, well, I've been using this stuff for years. My mom used it when I was there. And you just get in this like, well, how come now it's a problem? And just as we get older, our body functions differently, and things start working differently, and hormonally we change as women. And so there just becomes a time where your body can't take that toxic stress anymore, and it kind of becomes very stagnant. So one of the easiest ways I think for helping eliminating that toxic exposure is to look for personal care products and any products you're, in your life, to look at the ingredient list and eliminate the word fragrance, or parfum is the other way you're going to see it, PARFUM. And the reason I target that one ingredient is because it's actually like a legislative loophole that companies use for trade secrets in not being fully transparent about what's in their products. So there's studies coming out right now that show Johnson & Johnson baby care products that say paraben-free, sulfate-free, right? And that's what we know we're looking for. They're being third-party tested, and they're still having those ingredients in there. And that comes from being linked behind this word fragrance, where a company doesn't have to disclose that. And there are some really great documentaries you guys can watch that really go through the kind of legislative issues around this. On HBO Max, there's a series called Not So Pretty. And on Amazon Prime, there's a documentary called Stink. And it's really eye-opening to just see the lack of control or accountability that labeling has on our personal care products. So just because we see it in a store and on a shelf doesn't mean it has our best interests in mind. And people often think there's all these tests that products have to go through before they hit a shelf, but it's really the opposite. It's just until something goes wrong, that's when a company's held accountable. So it's really important for us to just look at these ingredient labels. And I found when a company chooses to eliminate the word fragrance, that their ingredient list generally is very cleaned up. They're already paraben-free, they're sulfate-free. So that's a good tool that I use to if you get rid of the word fragrance, you're getting rid of a lot of other things. There are still things that are labeled paraben-free, sulfate-free that have fragrance in them. So which counteracts that label. So I say look for artificial fragrance or parfum in there, get that out of your home, and you'll notice a huge difference in how you feel. And products still smell great without artificial fragrance. It doesn't, and we don't need that, there's still, like, you'll see beautiful like rosemary oils and extracts and lemon and eucalyptus and things that smell great that are natural, that don't need to be artificial. So I find that if we embrace natural scents, that in our personal care products, that our chemical overload is wildly decreased. So that's a great little trick, because when you look over on the back of some of these products, the ingredient list is like a mile long, and you're like, how am I supposed to know what this says? And how am I supposed to know what this weird word means? So if you can look for fragrance or parfum and eliminate that from an item, you're doing your body a huge service. So another reason that eliminating those chemicals for us as women is because a lot of them are called endocrine disruptors or estrogen mimics. And they make your body think that there's so much estrogen going on, your hormones then go out of whack. And that's why we see a lot of fertility issues that we see today that we just didn't see before. So a lot of these paraben, sulfates, anything like that are linked to reproductive health, and they're linked to asthma, and they're linked to cancer and really scary things. And there's tons of studies on PubMed you can find about this, but for some reason, there's still no legislative change that is forcing companies to remove these chemicals. So it's up to us as consumers to really do our due diligence and understand the choices we're making every day. So ditch the fragrance, and it's going to help with your hormones, your immune system, your energy, and that noise in your body goes down, and you're able to hopefully deepen that connection with your body and some of those things we talked about earlier, how to be more in tune with it. So then step number 2 is promoting an emotional well-being and mindset shift. And a lot of our health is about how we think about it. And the reason we have so much trouble is, like I said earlier, is like we've never really been taught, how we should feel about our health and how we should look at it. And that it's more than what we eat and how we move, but it's our emotional health, it's how we relate to one another on our health. Just there's so many layers than just movement and eating. So promoting a better mindset and creating emotional balance helps us not give in to emotional eating tactics, talking ourselves out of working out, and talking ourselves out of the positive changes we've started to make. So how do we kind of embrace that? Is that natural health is really more about preventing issues than treating them. And so we want to get kind of ahead of the game and look into how can we promote positive, healthy habits, and how can we promote a good emotional state and not wait until we spiral through a tantrum or something, you know. So a really easy way to do that is to embrace using emotional oil blends. So there's obviously tons of essential oils, but what makes it nice is there are a lot of blends that have been scientifically formulated to match a certain emotion. So you don't have to blend them yourself. You can blend them yourself, but you know, I would rather use years of scientific experience of why we're using certain single oils than me just like in my kitchen, like this smells nice and putting them together. So there are tons of great emotional blends that you can use to help promote and start your day in a positive place and keep that healthy mindset first and foremost. So like when it comes to emotions, a lot of times we talk about calming or stress, right? Those are the two things we talk about, but there is a vast amount of different emotions. There's guilt, there's anger, there's sadness. I mean, there's so many different emotions on the spectrum that's important that we, you know, combat more than just stress. Even though it's probably our number one felt emotion, sometimes it's a secondary emotion to something else that's happening, like resentment or guilt, or we might be overcompensating for something that's causing us stress. So we want to make sure we understand the range of emotions that we can target using essential oils. And so the main way I use essential oils when it comes to emotions is diffusing, which I have right here. And I was telling Anna, I was like, yeah, you know, you get a little nervous before you speak publicly, right? So I have like one of our blends called Valor that's all about confidence. So I put some on before just to like give myself a little pep, you know, before I started instead of waiting till after where I stressed myself out the whole time and couldn't stay on track. So the preventative, starting first with our oils. So diffusing is a great way, but there's also a lot of topical applications and protocols you can use. One of my favorites is called the Feelings Kit, and it comes with 6 different oils, an affirmation with each one, and a certain body point and chakra you should apply it to. And it really helps you align any of that emotional baggage or junk you might be carrying on to and help you start in a more positive direction. And the reason, a big thing about using essential oils with emotions is going to be quality. And the reason we care about quality being such a big factor when it comes to emotions is because of the frequency that our essential oils carry. So frequency is basically like the energy of every living thing has an energy and a frequency. And in ourselves, we want our frequency to be high. And when our frequency is high, you know, that's where like positive health habits change, you know, like the frequency, high frequency is good, low frequency is bad, is how you want to think about it. And so when we want to have higher frequencies for better health, there are things that lower our frequency, like stress lowers our frequency. Unhealthy foods lower your frequency. Eating a lot of processed foods, that's going to lower your frequency. Not getting enough sleep is going to lower your frequency. Coffee, I hate to say it, but coffee lowers our frequency. And so we want to surround ourselves with things that promote a higher frequency within our body, because a low frequency is where illness and viruses and all those things live. So if we're at a higher frequency, we're much healthier and our immune system is much stronger to tackle whatever comes at us each day. And one of the most powerful essential oil blends for frequency is one called Forgiveness. And I thought that was so amazing, because if the act of forgiveness can bring us to a higher frequency, then what is the act of not forgiving people doing to our frequency? What is the act of holding on to those, you know, emotional hardships doing to our health? So getting your emotions in tune and working through some of these emotional baggages that we kind of carry with us through life is really important to reach that kind of next level of health. So I use forgiveness oil all the time. I'm a Virgo. We're not good at that. We're not good at forgiveness. And but just because it doesn't come naturally to me doesn't mean I can't work on it and get better. And I actually just had a conversation with my little sister earlier where we had to talk about an argument we had over a year ago, where we both were just apologizing and forgiving each other and trying to just officially let that move on. And you just feel so much lighter when you put that stuff to bed and you address some of those things that you're kind of consciously and subconsciously carrying with you. So working through your emotions is probably, I think, the least used for essential oils. Like, I think it's the most important part and important piece of essential oil use, but it's probably the least talked about. So I really encourage you to think about your emotional balance and where can you improve, or what do you see in your emotional health that you'd like to change. And then the third kind of pillar for getting that better relationship with your body is creating intentional time and quiet time into your routine. And this was something that was a big piece of that Anna helped me with when I was in Soul Body Bliss, was scheduling breath breaks. We realized, like, I don't take deep breaths, and it sounds weird, but then I found out it was super common that I wasn't taking these deep belly breaths, and the tightness in my core, that's where my anxiety was coming from, this tension and this lack of release down here. And so scheduling, I used to, like, now it's a habit, I don't have to, but I had it in my calendar. I had an alarm that would go off that would be like, hey, you need to take a breath break. You need to go somewhere quiet, take a few really deep breaths and center yourself. I just found I was rushing through my days so much that I wasn't taking that time, and not even consciously. I mean, breathing isn't something we necessarily think about, but it's quite vital to life. So it's something we should think about more. Another intentional time can just be walking outside barefoot. I am never in shoes. Once winter leaves Minnesota, I am never in shoes. I hate shoes. Love my feet on the ground, feet in the grass, and just kind of feeling the earth below you is so grounding. And it sounds so insignificant, but it really is such a mood booster to go outside in the yard. And I thank my dogs for the excuse to make me go outside and walk around in the grass and on the earth and just feel connected, and just leave my phone inside and listen to the birds. I just feel really connected in nature, even in those brief moments. It does so much for you. So this doesn't have to be like hours that we're scheduling. So if you're kind of feeling like, I'm already really busy, like, I don't have time for this, like, it's like start with these 5 to 10 minute breaks, and then you'll be so surprised how good it feels to do these little things. And the last thing I do is really journaling. And I'm not a person who can take a blank page and just write my heart out. So I get more workbooks, self-love for women workbook. I have a gratitude journal, any of these things that give me a focus. So I'm able to write out things that I'm feeling, but it prompts me. So I actually get to those places I need to, because it's not natural to me to journal. So there's so many tools that we can use that help us, and things that aren't natural for us. And then just embracing daily routines that you learn through the Soul Body Bliss course is like what's essential to, reconnecting and getting that intuitive sense with your body and really feeling connected, so you feel empowered in your health. I just know so many friends who kind of fall to the marketing tricks of different weight loss products and things like that because they don't understand their body. And when you kind of eliminate these things that we talked about and you embrace, your body and get to understand it better, I never feel frustrated or stuck in my body. If there's something I don't like, I know how to fix it. And I know what choices I haven't been making that have led me here. But it's being aware, and it's knowing, and it's understanding. And to me, that's what kind of using essential oils and looking at health from a clean living standpoint means. Not about being perfect, Anna always talks about the Kaizen method, not about being perfect, but taking these small steps in the right direction and realizing how much these small steps build over time. And once you're aware and once you learn, it becomes the way you think. You think about things totally different. And so those are kind of my 3 pillars that I recommend you really tune into. And I kind of recommend them a bit in that order, just because, like, when we're talking about chemical overload, if you're trying to work on your emotional health, let's say, and you're still cleaning with bleach and all of these harsh chemicals, your hormones are going to get a little crazy, and it's going to be harder for you to find that emotional balance, and you're going to be like, why is this happening? And so there is some kind of fluidity to those steps and how they work. So you want to be able to support yourself and just take it step by step in the right direction, and things will come for the best results. But Young Living is the brand of essential oils I use and represent. I've used several other brands before using Young Living, so I can really attest to the difference in quality and experience that I've had since using Young Living. They're a full transparency company, which is what I like. So when we talked about those like fragrance loopholes, you'll see every ingredient that's in that product on that list. And everything is fragrance free. So for me, it's like my all natural Amazon. It's where I get my cleaners, my skincare, my soap, all of that stuff. And then that's where I get my oils that I work on for diffusing or for my emotional routines, anything like that. So the standards are just so different. And we always say, if you don't understand your soil, you don't know your oil. And we have farms all across the world, but more importantly, we have farmers who work on our soil health, and knowing that there's no chemical usage in our soil that we're planting in. So what we're growing is super clean and tested by third-party testers, in-house testers. So you know that the oils are going to do what they say they're going to do. Because if we don't have that farming piece to it, we can say a lot of things, and that's where that term snake oils comes from, as kind of these oils that didn't do anything because they weren't distilled properly. It's a science, and, nature is something to just be respected and cherished. And I think that should be seen in the creation of any plant-based product. So that's what I love and appreciate about Young Living and why I use their oils. It's just something I truly trust. So I use them on my pets, I use them on myself, and I've used them for years. And I can say that I've only gotten healthier by making these changes. And I would say if I didn't have that experience with them, I don't know if I would have even met Anna or been open to like learning about Ayurveda, because it opened me up to think differently about my health. So that's kind of my presentation. I hope you guys took something good out of that. I do have a special, I have 2 bundles that if you guys want to start, whether it's switching chemicals out of your home or embracing, diffusing emotional oils, that for you guys for the rest of the month, if you grab one of the bundles, I'll gift you a $20 Amazon gift card as part of your welcome gift. But something that's really different too is you'll get this, I call it like the Bible. It's like the Bible of oils. There's everything you need to know, where to apply them, what to use them on, which emotions, which oil. But that's the other piece about Young Living I really love, is that you get education. So a lot of times if you're just like buying oils at the store, like who's telling you how to use them, how much to use them, who can you ask for, which oils match what you're looking to find. And so Young Living is really a community, and we just come together because we all think the same about our health, and we're making those healthier choices. So I'm just like you have Anna for your Ayurveda questions, you'll have me for your oil questions. And I'm here to kind of happy, to support you along the journey as you learn what you want to focus on. So I have a cleaning bundle. It's full of our Thieves Cleaner products. It's basically going to cut your toxic overload in half. So it's going to replace the cleaners you're using in your house, your toothpaste, your mouthwash, your hand soap, and your hand sanitizer. And if that's like half of your personal care products, and it's enough cleaner to last you for at least 8 months. So it's going to last you a really long time. And then the other one is, it's our best selling. It's our kind of diffuser and oil bundles. And you'll get our desert mist diffuser, which is really pretty, and 12 oils that include oils that can help you with grounding, with positivity, with confidence. It has the blend that I'm diffusing right now, Valor, with peace and calming. And it just sets you up in the right way. So if it's okay with Anna, I can link them in the group or let them know how I can recap tonight, just so you guys can get a hold of me and see my Facebook profile. You can message me. My Instagram is where you can find me a lot. My handle's Jordan, JORDAN.K.Stearns, STEARNS. People are like the life jacket? And I'm like, yes, spelled that way, but not related. I wish. But you guys can get a hold of me that way too. So no matter if you maybe tried on living in the past and it didn't work for you, you've tried oils in the past, wherever you are on that journey, I'm happy to meet you there and kind of help you move forward with anything like that. So thank you guys for coming tonight. I'm so excited that I got to reconnect with our Soul Body Bliss babes, because like I said, they're just my favorite people.
Yay. It's so nice to have you here. Yeah, it's really interesting. Just even starting with your first note about the chemicals and all the stuff in our products. And the example of Johnson & Johnson, I saw in the New York Times how many lawsuits have been pushed against them for people, particularly like the baby powder and the baby oils, and how detrimental they are. How many people develop cancer and lung cancer and issues from using Johnson & Johnson baby powder, and they just pay them off. They have like this like loophole where they just like pay them a few $1 million to like shut up so that they can kind of like keep promoting their products.
Yeah, and even in that HBO documentary I mentioned, Not So Pretty, there's one where they showed too that Johnson & Johnson got even smarter, and they created another company, and in their like contracts it says that any lawsuits against Johnson & Johnson is paid through this other company. And then what they did was they made that company go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So that people that are getting sued, even if they win, there's no money.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, like it's just unfortunate, because Johnson & Johnson, I mean, that's a household name. I mean, my parents use Johnson & Johnson on me, you don't know. Once you know better, you do better. But I mean, you just think it's what everyone was using, so it's fine.
Exactly. There's like this trust, was like, oh, they're such a big company, they're so successful, they must have the best product, but it's like one of the worst. Yeah. I was going to ask if you could expand a little bit more on the actual oils. Like you said that there's like emotional oil blends, so I'm just like really curious what those are and like how they work, I guess.
So there's a ton of emotional oils, and I think that's important because there's a ton of emotions, so there are 6 that come in the feelings kit, which is something I really use a lot. And it's harmony, inner child, forgiveness, present time, valor, and something else that I moved, but I don't know where it is.
That Valor is one of her favorites too.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's like blue. It's really pretty. Like when you use it, so it's blue. I don't know why. That makes me happy that it's blue. But in the feelings kit, it actually doesn't come in the kit, so I'd have to send it to you, but there's a different affirmation, and with each oil is targeted a different area. So like anger, we carry in our liver sometimes. So forgiveness, you're going to apply there. And it matches with each chakra as well as your organs, and then your affirmations, because I think words are just as powerful. So when I'm using emotional oils, I'm either using it in a protocol like that, or honestly, like I don't like to overcomplicate it for people either, because the most important thing is that you use them, and putting it in the wrong place is still better than not using it at all. But there really is no wrong place, because our bodies, so wonderfully designed and connected through different body systems, that it'll get where it needs to go. But for example, for forgiveness, which I use a lot, as I said, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of smells like really bright, like kind of like citronella to me. I think there's citronella in here, but there's like frankincense. I mean, they're always like, there's a ton of different oils in them. And that's why I really recommend the blends, because that research is done for you. But a lot of times what I do, like for forgiveness, I put it over my heart, and I'll put it just over my liver. And then I'll even just put it like around my third eye. And that's really all there is to it. And then you take the extra, and I call this like a scent tent, and you just put it over your nose and take some deep breaths. And then that goes back to our breath work and our intentional breathing, is just being able to sit here for a few minutes and just really like let it all go. So like you can just use your kind of different pressure points for application. I use my oils straight. I've been using them for so long. Some people have really sensitive skin, or if you're still using like chemical products, there can be a reaction because oils are so cleansing and they're trying to get that out of you. So if you're spraying perfume on top of your oils, it doesn't always mix well, but you can just use coconut oil, make a roller ball too, and reapply. But if you're unsure where to put it topically, what I always recommend is just diffusing or just deep breathing it. And that's because your emotional oils and any oils break the blood-brain barrier of the limbic system. And we attribute emotions or past memories to scents. So I went a long time ago, I went to Guatemala, and it was my first international travel, and I was going with work. It was like a work trip. And I was just like terrified. So I had my peace and calming with me, and I just sat on this like old decrepit bus that was getting us where we were going with my diffuser bracelet basically up my nose. And I just was like, you will not get car sick, it's fine. And use that to really like channel calmness. And now whenever I smell that, I actually have thoughts of Guatemala all the time, it's a beautiful thing to remember. It's such a beautiful place, but you associate different scents with memories. And so what you're doing is kind of retraining your emotional sense in a positive way when you start using your emotional oils. So that's why just even breathing it, it only takes like 30 seconds to go through that blood-brain barrier. So it's one of the fastest things you can do to help yourself too. But the thing with a natural product that kind of we struggle with sometimes is that it takes reapplication. So we're not using it once and we're forgiven and no anger lives in my body anymore. It's like a process of reapplying it and doing it over. There's also, and I can link this somewhere too, there's like a conquering toxic emotions workbook I went through that was super helpful. That I would find myself just like crying after certain things it told me to do because my body was just releasing, trauma that I was clearly carrying. But when it comes to just daily emotions like forgiveness or joy or valor, I just find applying it either like behind my ears, on my chest and over my heart, or right on my third eye is where I like to apply them. And then you can just also breathe them easily from there, and your body kind of acts like a natural diffuser. I know people who put oils in their hair and they scrunch them at the bottom and they use their hair as a diffuser. So, there's no right or wrong way. There's just using them and continuing to use them to help promote that positive change. And then when it comes to emotions, and I have another video I could link or something or send to anyone that's interested. I went through kind of like 3 emotional stages depending where you are. So there's like the Conquering Toxic Emotions challenge or workbook that I recommend if you really have some traumatic things maybe that have happened or that you carry with and maybe you didn't have resolve with. And I went through that. And then, you can use the feelings kit, which is really for like everyday feelings, like things that come up. Our dog was really sick a few months ago. He's older, but we found out he had bone cancer, and we thought we were gonna have to put him down. And we don't have children, our animals are our children. So we were just like distraught every day. We were just like crying all day. And finally, Miles and I just let the the feelings kit oils out, and I left a little protocol, and we just each did it, and we finally were just able to gain some control and not be just crying every day. So the feelings kit is great for your everyday emotions. And then we have a set called I have it right here, the Divine Destiny collection. And that's really for, I kind of say, like leveling up. So if you feel good in where you are emotionally, but you still want to like level up, that's what I think this Divine Destiny collection is really good for. And it's like a series of 3 oils where the first week you use one every week, and the second week you add another, and the third week you add the third. And it's really about like hitting that higher purpose, feeling that motivation, or like if you struggle with like, what is my purpose in this life? I always think that's a really good one. It really helps you kind of feel like, what am I here for? And settle some of those questions and do that reflection with yourself. So yeah, and there's so many emotional oils, but I think that's so positive because too, they say like what you don't like the smell of sometimes is what you need. And I remember when I first opened gratitude oil, and I hate to admit this, but I like hated it. And I was like, what does that say about me that I hate the smell of gratitude oil? But I think it was probably fitting at the time. I mean, gratitude was not high on my list of things I was practicing, and now I love it, so things, as we change, things change, and different oils speak to different people. So I think it's important that there's so many, because we're also different and have different like human emotional experiences. So part of it sometimes is a trial and error, but there's some of these kits and collections that give you at least a baseline, so you know where to jump from.
Yeah, it's so nice that they can be such supportive tools for the processing and the movement of like the emotional energy. Yeah. Do you guys have questions for Jordan?
I was just going to say, Jordan, I actually had that same experience with Valor initially. I did not like it, but now I use it almost daily as a perfume along with orange. So it's just funny how
it's crazy how we change it. I guess it's kind of like your taste buds, like when I was a kid, I hated like all vegetables, like people thought, like when I would get a sandwich at Subway when I was in high school, like it was like meat and cheese and bread, and that was it. Like no vegetables were touching my sandwich. And now it's like, oh, that sounds horrible. Like if I were to get a sandwich, like that sounds, now I have like just veggie sandwiches all the time. So just like your taste buds change when you start making healthier habits, I think like your scent and what you want, like what your body intuitively wants, changes, and that matches with your scent too. So
I'm a brand partner as well. And I pulled up the Pocket on the Go, and I saw that forgiveness has 15 oils on top of sesame seed oil. So just a ton of support there. I was really curious what the name of the book you were sharing was.
It's called The Essential Book.
Oh, okay.
And I just love it because there is so much, it goes over like what products go in your bathroom, what products should go in your kitchen, how do you customize body wash, what's a roller recipe I should make, what emotions should I tackle. It's just so inclusive because, it is being healthy is a lifestyle, it's just, it has to be, and you have to embrace that. And so I like that it just goes into everything. It goes into so much, and it's just really pretty, which I like.
It's fascinating, the power of plants, because I was thinking even just like working with a plain rose oil, or it like not the full concentrate of like essential rose oil, like a diluted version of it, and how just like powerful that can be. And like in Ayurveda, when we think of it through the energies of the doshas, Pitta tends to have more of the issues of like anger, hot blood, excess heat, and rose being a really nice way to soften and diffuse that and open the heart. And it's such a nice practice.
Rose is so nice, and it's so powerful. And that was when I used, because rose has has the highest frequency. And so when our dog, he got his diagnosis, my rose that I hold very, very consciously, and I dilute it and use it, I was just like, well, all my rose is going to him, because I knew if I could get his frequency up high enough, that it would help in his healing. And I'm happy to say that we also, we embrace veterinarian care too. You know, our vet's on board with what we're doing, and he's on, you know, medication as well, but they're floored by the results he's having in just 30 days. Because I think when you embrace the two and you're empowered to make those decisions about your health, you know, what feels right, what feels wrong, I just think like it's very, I don't know, cohesive, and he's just getting like better results than they could have ever imagined. So
That's awesome.
We had a very similar experience with our dog as well. She's been having tumors, and we did a tumor spray for her and did some Egyptian gold. And she had surgery. They told us to take her home until she can't poop anymore and keep her comfortable. And she's been doing really, really well.
yeah, it's like sad that, like, I mean, that's like the same advice we got was like, well, he's older. You know, you're just like, that's it. That's all you're gonna give me. So, you know, we had to go to like 3 or 4 vets till we found one that felt good to us, you know, till we found one that felt right. And I think it's the same thing with doctors, you know, like Anna was kind of saying too, she's like trying out a new doc, like sometimes you have to like go and seek more opinions until you find one that, you know, feels good to you. But I think a lot of people, like when you don't have this connection to your body or this thought process about your health, they just like listen to whatever anyone says. They're like, okay. It's like, no, like be empowered to like try, nourish your body. It's like, it's okay. So.
Yeah. And there are many paths to health. Like there's many different approaches that we have. So when you just kind of incorporate more and more tools, it just adds to your ability to support yourself or your pets or whatever. It's like, it doesn't be like one direct way, but like, yeah, we can do Ayurveda and we can have essential oils and we can use, you know, diet and we can use sleep and quiet time and rest and nature. And there's like multiple avenues and different schools of thought. And I think the more open-minded and kind of like finding places that are resonant or dysresonant, it's like, you know, work with what is there to serve you.
Yeah, I feel like the more you add, it's like the next layer or level of health you reach, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could feel this good. Oh, I didn't know I could feel this good, and it just kind of keeps like creeping up. Which is great.
Yeah, it's so nice. We all have so much access to this. I think it's a great privilege, you know. Yeah. Did you, Donna or Mom, did you have any questions for Jordan? Yeah.
I do. Yeah, thanks so much. You know, what you were saying about blends as opposed to individual oils, I can relate to that because I have only used individual oils and then I kind of follow what somebody might be telling me, and, you know, trying to be intuitive about what smells good together just doesn't really work for me and what I need. So I usually end up going to some menu anyway, and I've enjoyed the exploring, but I kind of like this idea. I've used the thieves oil. I'm a little bit familiar. I think I went to something at my library once and loved it, and then just never continued. So if I were to, let's say, get a feelings kit or even the Divine Destiny, I'll have to take a peek at what you have. I'm interested. Does it pretty much tell you what oils are in it, and can we assume that they're in a dilution that we're safe to put them on if we have no problems? You know, like sometimes it's not good to put a straight oil on your body anyway, but they're all diluted in some way. Is that correct?
Yeah, so especially the emotional ones, like almost all of those are diluted with a coconut or a sesame seed oil. Okay. But your emotional oils too are going to be much more gentle plants. So usually like those oils we want to be careful about are what we call like hot oils, and those are things like oregano and basil and things that are really like spicy, cinnamon. Right. And those are definitely more like immune system, like more in the sense of like helping with sickness than they are with like emotional balance. And so when you're emotional balance, you're going to get more like trees, and you're going to get more like flowers and things that just won't give your skin that kind of reaction. But Yeah, what's nice too is I love with the Divine Destiny collection is there is a book that tells you how to do it, but on every label, you can just peel and you're gonna find every oil that's in it. And it also gives you the like Latin name for it, which is really important because for something like lavender,
Right.
there like lavender augustifolia is the like pure true lavender plant, and like there is more lavender oil and lavender things sold in the world than there is lavandula augustifolia grown. So it's important to like just sometimes knowing those different Latin names can help you make sure you're using the right oil for what you're looking for. Same with like frankincense. There's like, you know, or helichrysum or eucalyptus, there's like 80 different kinds of eucalyptus, you know, so like it's important to sometimes go a little deeper into that, like what is that plant's name and origin, so you understand how it works. Because like for even for singles, we sell 3 different kinds of eucalyptus. So, you know, which one do you want to use? There's not just eucalyptus, you know, or same as frankincense. There's multiple frankincense or there's multiple sandalwood. So the science behind it, like you're saying with the singles, it is hard to be like, do I like what this smells like? And what do I put together and what complements each other? But like with so much experience that Young Living has, it's like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. You know, they've done that research and it's there for me.
Right.
I would rather embrace it, you know, than try to concoct something myself, which never smells as good. But yeah, I can definitely.
And then the other question I wanted to ask is I've always wanted to. What's that?
I can definitely just send you information.
I think I might have a bag.
And what oils are in each
Yeah,
one.
I'm interested. And then, yeah, and the diffusers, you know, I've always wanted one. I thought it sounds so great to be able to, like, I don't know, in the evening, turn on the diffuser and have something that's, you know, just conducive to the winding down. It kind of brings the memory of this is what I'm after. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested in that feelings kit. If it's got a little diffuser, maybe I'll start diffusing and, you know, and then experiment, you know, like you're saying, on the body is one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, the diffuser is so nice because it's going to give you a longer period of time. And so like I was saying, if you apply topically, you have to, you know, like reapply, obviously, like, you know, more than once a day. Sometimes if you're really looking for something or really trying to impact a certain emotion or area. But the diffuser, I go to sleep with one on. I have one in my office. I have one in like every room in my house. But like a pro tip would be to, like, I love putting my diffuser on before I leave the house. And then when you come home, it just smells so good. You just like walk in and it hits you and you're like, oh, I'm so happy to be home. And a lot of people like only do it when they're home, but like I love kind of putting it on while I'm gone and coming home to that. Because sometimes too, once you're in it for a while, like your scent kind of becomes complacent. And so your body's still getting it, but you're like, sometimes you have to really get a little bit closer once you've been in it for 2 or 3 hours. So walking in, you get that like burst of aroma. It's so nice.
That's a good idea. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think people are like afraid to like, they think they're like wasting their oils. And I'm like, no, good. Use them all the time.
Yeah. Mom, did you have a question for Jordan?
I did. I was wondering about where I could get the book.
Yeah, I can link, I can put that in the group too. It's by a group called Hello Essentials. And so if you go to their website, they have different like business resources. And this is just one of them. And it is so great that I just highly recommend getting it. There's also, I left it in the other room. There's a essential oil desk reference. That's another great tool, but it's like a little more of a, yeah, I knew you had one. I knew you were gonna have one. It's great. And you can find that. It's called discoverlsp.com by Life Science Publishing, but it reads like a textbook. You know, it's more of a reference tool, like, oh, I have a bruise or I cut my knee. What do I do kind of thing? Where this is more like lifestyle and just understanding how to start incorporating oils into your daily life,
Mhm.
because it is one of those things you have to use every day to really see the best results.
So the group of oils that you use in your diffuser, which ones are those? No, they come with thieves,
In the bundle that I talked about,
right?
so it's a group of 12, and it's Thieves, Citrus Fresh, Raven, Peace and Calming, Valor, Lemon, Lavender, Frankincense, Panaway, Peppermint.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness isn't in there. No, this is a different one. And I forget what the other two are, but I can post that. They're always changing it, that bundle, but it's our best selling one because it gives you like some for emotion, gives you some for physical, gives you some for diffusing. And like I hear this a lot from people where they're like, oh, I have too many oils in my house. And it's like, that's the wrong way to think about it, because things come up in your life and you're going to look at that reference book that she was just holding up and you're going to say, shoot, I need these and I don't have them. So like, for example, I'm doing like a liver, like I was doing part of like a liver and metabolic cleanse right now. And I had all the oils on me, which was wonderful. So like, it's okay to have a little stockpile and a shelf of a collection, because like, you're not going to use the same ones every day. And because we're very like respectful of what, you know, these plant juices are, you're going to use different ones, and you're going to need some for different reasons. And so it's nice to kind of have a collection and to be able to have what you need at your disposal, just like a first aid kit or a preparedness tool almost. So like I have multiples of certain things that I use a lot. But that's why I like that kit, because it's like when you do the math, it's like 50% off or something of what it would be if you bought them all individually. And like, I'm just a sucker for saving money. So if I can be healthy on a budget, it's like double whammy, like excitement for me. So that's why I like that one. But yeah, it's 12. It doesn't have the forgiveness, but you can, like, when you grab a bundle, you can add any additional oils or products to it as well. And then like, I always tell people this because people just get like weird network marketing stereotypes in their head, but you never have to order again and you don't have to sell anything. There's no like strings attached. You can buy a product and never order again, and it's okay. It won't happen because you'll love it so much, but you can. But yeah, it's a great, and then in that bundle too with the oils, you also get like 2 packets of Ningxia Red, which is like an antioxidant juice that's full of like goji berries and tart cherry juice, blueberry, aronia. There's like this really great antioxidant mixture. And then you also get some roller top fitments, which I like because it's an easy way. Like if you do just want to apply directly, you just pop a little roller top onto the actual bottle. Here, I have one right here. And it just makes like applying so easy. So like this is another emotional one called Release. Oh, that's what's in the feelings kit. That's what I was forgetting, Release.
So
Okay.
if I wanted that one that you're describing, would you mail it to me or
No.
how does that work?
It'll come direct from the company. So you'll just like order through my website link,
Oh,
and
okay.
then the company ships directly, but then like I'm here to help you go through it and to answer any questions, or if it comes and there's some kind of issue with it, I can help get that fixed.
Mhm.
And then I do like a weekly oily like email newsletter with different things, and I have a Facebook group. So there's always like recipes and outlets for you to ask questions, because I think that just happens a lot, and I always want to make sure people have support and don't feel like they like bought these and now they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And they're just going to like Pinterest, which could send you in 1,000 different directions. And so we're just really big on community, which I really like. So, and what you guys love about Soul Body Bliss too is like the community is like, you know, half the fun, because you just meet people you can talk to.
So then my next question is, Anna, do you have some of these? And if you would like, I'd like to gift you one of them, whichever one it is that you choose.
Okay.
I saw the eyebrows go. Ooh.
But
I'm
I think you
curious.
should get the same one as me.
I'm
That-
super, I love the thieves, and I use it, like I have a diluted in a glass spray bottle. So
Oh.
I clean my countertops and sinks and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
love it. But I'm super curious about the emotional blends. So what we'll do, Jordan, if you can email me all of your links that you want to include, including like to the books and to the Instagram handle and all of that. When I
Mhm.
send out the recording, I'll have all the links so you guys have all of our info, contact info, and you can still share some stuff like in the Facebook group. So people can kind of talk and ask more questions there, but that way it's all together, and then it'll also go in the members hub underneath the recording. All of it will be right there too. So people too that are watching the recording that aren't here get to forever have access to be able to reach out to you.
Yeah, I'll definitely include all that. There's so many things, and I'm very excited. Our convention's in like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll be back at the lavender farm, and it's just so fun to be able to like see the plant to the bottle. Like you get to see the whole thing, and there's just something really special about that. You know, like if I buy my Tide laundry detergent, doesn't show me how it's made, or and I don't know, like it's not the same.
Yeah.
I was so sad that it's the weekend it is because I'm in a wedding that weekend. So I was really hoping to be there. So maybe next year.
I'll think of you. I'll think of you when I'm there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It's exciting that, yeah, especially like what you mentioned with the blends. I've tried to blend stuff before and put in rolling ball, and I'm like, not my favorite.
People
But-
study to be like master blenders, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, there is such like a knack to it, and like every oil has a different constituent level. So, and like that determines how they work and what they work with. So finding constituent levels that match, and like polyphenol levels that match, and all those things, it just, there's a real like science behind emotions, and it's nice because people think it's like a gimmick, but there's just this true science and years of research. And they even have like a plant library at some of our labs where you can open up and see like dried, you know, versions of each plant that becomes an oil, and what it does, and how it supports you, and then what's the most sustainable way for the planet for them to grow it. So it's just so thoughtful. And I think that's missing in so much like product production today, is like being really thoughtful and intentional about, you know, from the soil to the oil.
Yeah, and sourcing it, and the environment, the land that's cultivated on, the people cultivating it, the culture, the ecosystem that's impacted.
Yeah, and just like fair pay for like the farming employees, and like even like we use no pesticides on our farms. Like they have sheep that come to the lavender farm to help with weeding, and they hand weed, and you know, that, I mean, that comes at a cost, of course, but it's the right thing and the right way to do it. And like you only need a few drops to have such a big impact. But they do last you, you know, they last you a while, and it's a really special thing when a company wants you to learn about what they do, and they want you to be a part of the process. You know, like we're talking about Johnson & Johnson hiding things and loopholes, and then like here's a company that's just like, come on in, the doors. And like this winter I got to go to our tree farm in northern Idaho, and I got to like literally hop in machinery and help like cut down trees, and then bring them to the distillery and pack the distiller, and then bottle up my own bottle. But of course now it's like so sacred, I never want to use it, and so it's like in my, I'm sure like I'll never touch it. And Miles was like, can I open it? And I was like, no. I was like, no, this is my special bottle. But you know, there's just like, who gets to experience that, you know, like who lets you do that in any other company? It just doesn't happen.
So when you use a diffuser, like do you just put like 5 drops in of whatever it was, one that you like, or?
Yeah, it kind of depends on like your, like how sensitive you're not. Like I like a strong scent. Like I call like a 12 to 15 dropper in my diffuser.
Okay.
Some people love 6 to 8. It really depends on like your kind of personal preference. I wouldn't do less than 6 is always what I recommend. And then 2, like on a lot of our diffusers, there's different time lengths. So if you want it to go for 4 hours, if you want it to go for 8 hours, for 12 hours. And so that might determine how much oils you want to use. But what I do is you put the oil in first, and then you add the water. And then when you add the water, it helps mix and disperse the oils. So that way the scent is better combined. Because if you add the oil second, it's just sitting right on top. And at a certain point, it's going to diffuse that water first. And then you're just kind of diffusing water.
Pro tip.
Which is like a humidifier, I guess. So it's great. But I mean, you'd love the smell of it to be first. So yeah, I like oil first, water second. And some people say to use distilled water. I use tap water. I don't like.
You're a 12 to 15er.
I'm a 12 to 15er. 12 to 15er, tap water. You know, some people just get like really into semantics, but I'm like, you know what? You just go for it. And what's nice is our diffusers all have like a 1-year warranty too. And like I've had friends that they'll like buy diffusers on Amazon and they'll be like, I can't smell anything. I'm like, yeah, it sucks. I'm like, you know, they're not thinking about how big of a space it should diffuse to. And so I have a whole diffuser guide too on like different times, you know, how long they go for, and depending on what room you want it in. Like I'm very sensitive to light when I sleep. So like there's a few diffusers I can't use in my room because the light won't go off. Like this one does, the light comes off, but like the luster diffuser, which I love because it's like glass and beautiful, that on light is so bright. After like 2 nights, I was like, nope, this ain't coming in my room. So there's different ones I would recommend for different rooms depending on like what you're looking for. But gosh, we have like 15 diffusers probably now. I mean, there's so many. There's even a car one now, which I'm going to get, which I'm very excited about. So.
I recently had to replace one that I had gotten last year, and it pooped out. It wasn't diffusing correctly 11 months before. So I was there so great about just problem solving with you and then replacing if it's not working.
Yeah, like you're supposed to like clean them every so often. I'm gonna tell you, I do everything wrong in the sense of maintenance of my diffuser. I like, unless I'm using a really thick sappy oil, you know, I don't clean it every day. And I have diffusers that I've used for like 4 years. I mean, that are still going strong. Like this one, gosh, this could be like 5 years old, honestly. And they work so great. And you know, like this one is a plastic, but like this is ceramic, and we have glass and we have wood. So there's different, you know, materials, whatever maybe looks nice with your home decor, that sometimes plays a role in what people want, but there's really something for everybody.
Awesome. Do you have a tip about diffusing? I like to diffuse basically my whole apartment is hardwood floors, and I have my diffuser on my kitchen countertop. What I noticed is over time, the area where it kind of like goes through the air and like it disperses, the floor gets really slippery right there. I think it's from just like having like the oils. Have you ever noticed that?
I have not. I do have wooden floors, but I've never noticed it except for when I overfilled my diffuser once and more water was it kind of like burbles out, you know, if you overfill it. So I would say if yours has a fill line, to be just more cognizant of how low, but I haven't had that happen with any of mine. So thankfully, I guess. But I do have one over my hardwood floors and I've never noticed it, but I'll start looking down more.
Oh, this was I walked by and I like kept slipping. I was like, what?
It was like hazardous.
Yeah, and I was like, it must be from my diffuser. That was like the only thing that I connected. It's like the only place I'm like walking around and I'm like suddenly about to slip. So maybe that's like my yoga mat there.
Yeah, it could be just like the is it an ultrasonic diffuser? I'm guessing that if it's water, it just could be like the power of the ultrasonic disc that's in the middle. It's like it's a metal disc that like vibrates. And so just depending on maybe the strength of that, maybe like it's not atomizing the water, you know, like you're getting more like water molecules than like cold steam is maybe what's happening. or if it's really old, it could just be like cracking out. I don't know.
Okay. I'm not familiar with even like how they work, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, any other questions? Mom, did you have another question you're about to ask?
I don't think so, except I'm surprised that Jordan lives in Bemidji.
Yeah,
Actually, I was at your house once, but you weren't there, I don't think.
Oh,
You weren't there. But I used to work with Isaac.
oh, you did?
I'm connected to all your children actually, except for Georgia, but I would go to lily pad all the time, and I worked at the cabin and then the chop house. And I used
Oh,
to help Isaac with some catering events.
oh,
And then, yeah, Anna was my Ayurveda coach. And so your family really pulled me up at a necessary time.
join us.
Yeah.
Belly Mafia.
your turn to do the dishes. Come on in.
Yeah, I'll come over. But yeah, you have a wonderful family.
Oh, thank you. Well, you gave a really good, like a thorough report. I learned a lot.
Oh, good.
Because I was just like you explained, somebody would give me some and dump them in the diffuser, and it's like, it's like I don't think I ever used them again. So
Yeah. And there is like a lot of like, that's why I say the education piece and partnering with someone you can talk to is so important, because I meet so many people that like almost feel scammed because they bought something and no one ever helped them again. And it does, it's not like buying a purse or buying a cooking pan. Like it does require some help and, someone for you to feel comfortable talking to. And it's important that I think people like purchase oils from someone that's really committed to the business side of it, or committed to helping them, or at least has a team behind them, that can fill that need. And like I was at the curling club this weekend and I had a table and I met so many people that like, I'm like, oh, I've heard of this, but I don't really know, and I don't know who to ask. And so it always breaks my heart a little bit. I'm like, no, like they're wonderful. Use them. So,
Yeah, that's so true. That having the support is you like just continue it's a relationship, like a relationship with plants and plant medicine. If you have more resources to go deeper and deeper, explore the nuances, or just get the basics under your belt.
Yeah, and I still learn. I mean, after 8 years, I still learn things all the time. I meet someone who's like, oh yeah, I use the animal sense ointment as a hot hair mask. And I was like, never would have thought of that, but it sounds like a great idea. Like you learn like people's little tips and tricks. And so you're always learning. And I think that kind of what makes it fun too, is there's always something to learn about and a new thing to try. So like, I just ordered stuff to do a lymphatic cleanse. There's a really big lymphatic cleanse going on. And I just started the dry brushing, and that was it, because I don't have all the products yet. And I'm already like, whoa, this is a part of my body I've not taken care of or like given attention to enough. But like, I think of who I was like 10 years ago, and I don't think I would know what a lymphatic system is, like I wouldn't know what that does. So it's just so interesting how you just keep growing it, and the body's so complex that you'll always keep learning about something new.
Totally, absolutely. Thanks for giving us so much of this great info, Jordan.
Anytime. This was so lovely.
Yeah, so nice. Yeah, we can come back and we can talk more about like, you guys have like another nuanced topic or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I could go like heavy into emotions. It is like one of my favorite topics. I just like, I'm really big on people gaining self-awareness and like understanding their emotional state, because it's just so important. And I think that's like first in health, is like your, understanding your, like I'm an emotional eater. Like I find when I just I eat, that's my problem, is I put too much emotion into eating. So it's just, those are signs I see when I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? I've even thought about doing that, like Conquering Toxic Emotion book again, because it's, it's not a one and done thing. So there are so many things. Could talk forever.
Yeah, so good. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us.
Yeah, anytime. I'm so happy you invited me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
It's so nice seeing you, ladies.
Yeah, come back. We miss you.
I will.
Awesome. Well, thanks, ladies. We'll have the info in the email recording and in the members hub.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks a lot very
All right.
much.
Have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
night.
Bye,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye.